Remember, everyone who supports me on Patreon got to see previews and work-in-progress shots as I made this figure. If you want to join them, even the smallest donation helps out. The link is in the description below. Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a figure for repeat commissioner Isaac. He has commissioned me before under a different username, but it was a really long time, so I don't remember what that username was. And I really had to go back into my archives to see what I made for him, and I'm kind of too lazy to do that right now because, I'm tired from all the Christmas work. Let Santa's elf get a break, Anyway, he wanted Scourge. Scourge is a character that is very near and dear to my heart because, as you may all remember, he was the very first character that I ever made into a custom action figure. Yeah, back when I was still working with polymer clay and using t-shirt scraps. Can you believe it? Man, I was so green back then. Oh, speaking of green, let's go ahead and make this guy. There was no single base figure, as we are all running out of toys. I just kind of cobbled him together from the best parts of a bunch of broken Sonic figures that I had. So, let's start with one of this very pristine head, which, I painted green, and then I made his little shades. They're actually a pair of Tails' goggles from the Freerider set. I couldn't find Sonic's goggles from the Freerider set. Funny thing, after I finished the figure, I found them in a forgotten box in the corner of my apartment, but, by then the figure was already done, so I'm like, it looks fine. So let's move on to the rest of the body. The body is pretty basic, too. It's just a repaint, green body with some brownish orange for the scars on his chest. Not a big deal. And the shoes are Freerider Sonic shoes. I did a little bit of changing to the lace design, but, I like the Freerider shoes because they're like big, solid boot-looking shoes, which kind of match with the kind of boots that Scourge wears without having to do too much extra sculpting. The sleeves are pretty basic. I sculpted the ends of the sleeves on, and just repainted the arms themselves, because I find that this preserves articulation better. I used to make sleeves for the older characters, but, like attaching sleeves to the arms, it was a big headache. It's just easier to paint the arms. The rest of the jacket is made out of craft foam, a nice little flexible material that, goes right on. So, with all the elements in place, let's assemble the figure and see what he looks like completed. And there he is, Scourge the Hedgehog. It just doesn't feel right if I've gone too long without making a Scourge. It's just like a tradition at this point, Like, it's like, he's like a measuring stick for how far I've come as a toy maker. Because, like I said, this is the very first figure that I ever actually made. Like, my original Scourge is sitting right next to me at this very moment, a foot away from my shoulder, autographed by all the artists and writers from the actual Sonic the Hedgehog comic book itself. I really do hold great affection for this character, even if he is a bad guy. In fact, it's because of bad guy that I made him, because back then they didn't make too many bad guys of the Sonic characters. Well, I bored you long enough with my backstory. This is Wake Angel 2001, and for now, I'm signing off.